There are many aspects of advanced pack development to delve into, but recently I found myself getting back into CEM, or custom entity models. In my last feature devlog, I upgraded the spider, and I've already had a completely new idea and direction to take it in, but before I go back and work on that some more, I want to take another look at my creeper. The current iteration of my creeper is from way back in 2021. This update to Caelesti, version 0.20, came out after a long hiatus from Optifine. 1.15 changed many aspects of how the game worked internally, and it took Optifine over a year to upgrade past 1.14. Once it was out though, I decided to give Caelesti a sort of fresh start, removing a lot of the older and suboptimal features and adding some fancy new ones. Among those new features was a new creeper texture, as well as a decent collection of biome-based variants that were designed to help the creeper blend into its environment. Once again, I find myself going over some of Caelesti's oldest features and giving them a new lease of life. Let's take another look at the creeper, shall we? My creeper has gone completely untouched since its creation 4 years ago, and it's now in need of some repair. Most of the biome-based variants no longer work because a number of Minecraft's biome IDs have changed in the last couple of years. My approach to texturing has also changed, so a whole set of new textures is a must. My old creeper utilized the entire color palette for both the head and body, which resulted in a sort of double gradient effect. Straight away, I've resolved this by having the color gradient extend across the body and head as one, instead of cutting off and resetting at the neck. To the untrained eye, my old creeper looks like a simple texture change, but there was actually a little more going on. In vanilla, the pivot point for each of the creeper's legs is in the middle, so when the legs swing, they visually disconnect from the body entirely. I decided to move the pivot point of each of the legs closer to the body so that it would look like they were attached at the corner. I also reduced the intensity of the swinging motion to better fit this new pivot point. After working on the spider, I'm confident I can do something a lot more interesting for the new guy. First, something simple. I can have the body tilt forwards depending on how fast the creeper is moving. The higher the limb speed, the more the body leans forward. I can also add the same animation to the head, but with the opposite rotation, which ensures the head remains level whilst the creeper is walking or running. Additionally, I can add a bobbing animation to the body and head, which also scales off of the limb speed. Since the head and body are the exact same width, they do cause some Z-fighting issues during this animation. It's so easy it almost feels like cheating, but I've scaled the head up by 4% across all 3 axes, which makes the head ever so slightly larger than the body and fixes the associated Z-fighting issues. Now onto the legs. I was able to figure out a custom walking animation for my spider, so I'm confident I can figure something out for the creeper too. First off, I can move the legs further away from each other to give a sort of sprawling appearance. Then I can create a completely custom walk cycle, once again using a combination of sine and cosine, clamping the vertical translation of the leg to mimic it dragging back along the floor. If that went straight over your head, just go watch the spider video. I can also add a slight rotation to each leg, specifically when the leg is being brought down to step on the ground. The combination of these 2 translations and slight rotation really helps each step to feel more like an intentional action, as opposed to the very simple disconnected swinging motion of vanilla. I think that's already looking considerably more lively, but we can definitely do more. By checking for the value of limb speed, we can have more than one walk cycle for the creeper. The scuttle that you've seen so far can be used for the walk, and when the creeper moves more quickly, say when they're running towards a player or away from a cat, the walk cycle can be switched out to a sort of gallop. The timing of animations on each limb is intentionally offset to achieve what looks like a realistic walk, but we can resynchronize the front and back legs to achieve a bound. I've also gone back and adjusted the bobbing animations for the body and head so that if the limb speed is over a specific threshold, the bobbing is much more intense and matches up with the way the legs move during the gallop. I think the creeper really benefits from this new set of animations, and I hope to achieve a similar level of liveliness in my future CEM creations. With the base texture looking good and the animations up and running, I started to think about the texture variants this new version of the creeper would have. Plants are actually masters of stealth, and there are a good number of examples of plants evolving to mimic other plant life or even insects. The idea that creepers could be plants is also backed by the official Minecraft bestiary, which also incorporates their explosive nature as a means of spreading spores. For Caelesti, I've decided to add a new quirk to their biology in that they are able to perfectly mimic natural objects within their environment. Possibly the most common natural color in the overworld is that of grass, and so the first variants will be attempting to mimic the local grass color. Although biomes like the desert do have a custom grass color, grass doesn't naturally spawn here, so the local creepers would attempt to mimic the sand or possibly a cactus instead. Sadly, I haven't gotten around to texturing either of these yet, so the creepers of this biome will just have to wait. Back to the grass creepers. I took the color map that Polytone uses for grass and expanded the color palette of my existing grass texture to match the new creepers. I've considered which biomes feature predominantly grass and set these entries up as the first in the .properties file. Right off the bat, this gives us 12 unique creeper variants that have opted to mimic the local grass color in the environment they spawned in. Although I won't yet be doing a desert creeper, there are some other surface blocks that are good to go. The first of these is the snowy creeper, which has tried its best to mimic the snow that surrounds it, but these plants can only stretch so far. Creepers struggle to blend in as well in this type of setting. In forested biomes, creepers can attempt to mimic the trees. Since tree bark is natural, it's a surface the creeper is able to perfectly replicate. Currently, you'll be able to find oak creepers in forests, swamps, and wooded badlands. Birch creepers can be found in Caelesti's autumnal birch biomes, and dark oak creepers, as well as the first two, can be found in dark forests. The weight of these skins closely match the actual dispersion of trees in that biome, and in the future, I intend on adding further variants based on the surrounding natural blocks, like flowers and leaves. I feel like the sunflower creeper would be a really fun one to make, but frankly, all of the 2-block tall flowers of Caelesti are also overdue for a revamp. Some of the small flowers are pretty good though. How about we make a dandelion creeper? Dandelions generate in a very large number of biomes, which means we'll have to take into account the dandelion stem color map. The flowers of Caelesti are upgraded with color maps, making their stems match the overall aesthetic in a given environment. Flower creepers will also be getting this treatment, so let's see how that's going to work. To keep things simple, I'm only going to do a single flower in this video, but we'll make sure that there's a creeper variant for every biome it could potentially and intentionally spawn in. I say intentionally because the wiki lists a good number of biomes that dandelions could spawn in as a happy accident, but I'm simply not going to take those rare circumstances into account. First off, let's design the new creeper. I'm thinking the flowers could rest on the creeper's head, which will substantially increase its overall height. It won't completely fix the issue, but making the creeper itself just a bit shorter adds some further uniqueness and helps to balance out the overall height. Next up, we can generate the new base coat by taking the dandelion palette, expanding it to match the creepers, and applying the default dandelion stem color. After that, I can add further elements to display the dandelion itself. Each of these elements are using per face UV mode, which allows for some finer control, perfect for this pane shape. Unlike blocks, entities always display their texture on both sides of a face, which can be troublesome when trying to mimic block models in entity form. I initially had some Z-fighting issues with the individual elements of the flower bulbs, but I've circumvented them by duplicating the plane, separating it ever so slightly, and displaying only the front or back texture where appropriate. That's one dandelion creeper done. What other biomes do dandelions spawn in? Oh right, yeah. It seems more sensible to ask which biomes dandelions don't spawn in. So we'll need a dandelion creeper for plains, sunflower plains, forests, birch forests, dark forests, jungles, savannas, tigers, and snowy biomes. Once again, I've taken the dandelion stem color map, increased the palette of the dandelion to match the creeper, and created 9 new textures designed to match the local dandelion stem colors of every biome that dandelions typically spawn in. For the boreal and snowy variants, I've adjusted the model to match the scattering variant of my dandelion instead. And just like that, Caelesti has 25 creeper variants. The grass creepers may be finished, but keep in mind we've only got 1 unique surface texture creeper, 3 wood creepers, and a single flower creeper. This system could be expanded to such a degree that it would be fit for an inspection. Are you looking forward to seeing these creepers in your game? Update 47 is on the horizon. I should have another long form showcase video coming out in the next couple of weeks, so keep an eye out for that one. In the meantime, let me know how else creepers should camouflage. Any surface material is a must, and there will of course be stone and maybe even ore variants underground, just as soon as I get around to making that stone color map. Anyway, that'll do it for today, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope you're looking forward to update 47 for Caelesti. In the meantime, why not check out some of my other recent videos to see how Caelesti's coming along? And remember to subscribe if you want to stay up to date, and maybe like the video, and maybe turn push notifications on, and maybe... Until next time, thank you so much for watching, and bye-bye.